Today on Timescast, Steve Jobs' tenacious grip on his products and the future they promised. Industries far from Silicon Valley felt and sometimes fought his influence.
People in the TV business saw what had happened to music, and they were much more wary of Steve Jobs.
And in Manhattan, the physically challenged find freedom in the products Jobs helped create.
It's a game changer. I mean, everything is literally at my fingertips.
Steve Jobs died on Wednesday, October 5th, after a long battle with pancreatic cancer. I'm John Markoff, and I have covered Silicon Valley for the Times going back to 1992, and I've written about Silicon Valley since 1976, which coincidentally is the year that Apple Computer was founded. Computers were very expensive in the 1970s, and there was a hobbyist movement that grew up in Silicon Valley that was composed of a group of young men who wanted to get their hands on computers. In fact, they were so expensive that Steve Wozniak built his own computer. And Wozniak, by himself, would never have done more than play with computers. And it was Steve Jobs who really understood that there was a market for personal computing. And, you know, that company was extremely successful even during the 1970s and 1980s. And it defined an entire industry that has really reshaped first our economy and more recently our culture. And when he came back to Apple in the 1990s, in 1997, Steve set out to basically walk through media and change the way the media was used by our culture. And he created a series of products, starting with the iPod, that really transformed American culture. He took the music player, then he took the telephone, and then he took the book, and he basically put computing in them and made magic. Steve's battle with cancer was really epic, and it was so tragic. But through all of that, he continued to run this company in a remarkable way. I mean, he realized the scope and impact of computing. One of the slogans for the Macintosh, Steve called it a bicycle for the mind. It really sort of extended computing into every nook and cranny of our culture. And, you know, what's just so sad, what's so tragic is that he died now. There's so much more in that trajectory still to do.
You know, Steve Jobs is being remembered as this sort of giant of Silicon Valley. It's really hard to think of another contemporary CEO who's dominated not only his own industry, but another industry as well. He's been massively influential in the music business in the past 10 years. The music business was very badly burned by Napster. They did not want to distribute their music digitally, and with iTunes, really Jobs showed the way that they could turn what they thought were thieves, people taking their music for free, into customers. Now, he did it in a very bruising fashion, in a way that the music industry didn't like. He didn't let them sell albums. He insisted on a 99-cent price point. And it's been enormously successful. I think it's something like 16 billion songs have been downloaded from iTunes in the last decade, which is incredible. He's been massively influential in Hollywood, not just in building Pixar into this giant that he sold to Disney, but how the whole Pixar sensibility has come to dominate Hollywood and how it makes films.
Really, your basic vacuum form polycarbonate with a high gloss sealer to bring out the shine.
He's trying to do the same with publishing right now, with the iPad.